it's not new. The idea of an ironclad commitment. I heard it from President Barack Obama when he came here in April 2014. What is important, of course, is the context. The fact that for two reasons. Number one, of course, we are all aware in that last 6 years, we had a president who simply has a very cynical and, of course, skeptical view regarding the alliance. And that's no less, of course, than former President Rodrigo Duterte. He never visited Washington, D.C. He had always shown the fact that he has, disdain towards the United States in general. And, of course, the fact that he's always been cynical with the alliance, to the point, of course, that he declared in his policy speech that he wants to separate from the United States and gravitate towards China. That's the first context. And of course, the other context is the fact that we are now faced with two major geopolitical, geostrategic challenges. You have, of course, what's happening in the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, when we see, of course, Chinese aggressive action to assert its maritime expansion. Then at the same time, north of our country, of course, we have the brewing tension between China and, of course, its renegade province or self-governing island of Taiwan. And of course, there's already talks of a possibility of a major showdown that will happen in the next few years. And of course, it will affect us whether we like it or not. So that's the situation right now.
Sir, it's one thing to say it and it's another to deliver. Given the pledges made by the U.S., they've made pledges in clean energy, environmental protection. But how about military provisions? Are you happy with what the President has brought home so far? Ano ba yung mga, kumbaga, pag nililigawan ka, di ba?
Those equipment are, convenient, but in the long run, of course, whatever equipment, defense equipment we have to procure or, of course, incorporate in our modernization program should be the responsibility of the Filipino people. That's one point I always raise. Alliances are, of course, a matter of convenience, but in the long run, protecting our country, protecting our interests is a responsibility of the Filipino people. So that's my take. Good, we're getting this equipment, but we also have to factor in the long run, if push comes to shove, we have nobody to rely but on ourselves and, of course, the armed forces of the Philippines.
Sir,
so that's my point there. So it means basically that we should have a whole nation approach in how to have to look at our security. That, the United States will not always be here in the region. And this is what the Chinese is always telling us. So we have to rely on ourselves and other security partners who are, of course, here in the Philippines. I'm referring, of course, to Japan, to South Korea, to a certain degree, Australia. So aside, of course, from strengthening our alliance with the United States, we also have to look into our neighborhood. And of course, we also have ASEAN. But I have to emphasize, ASEAN is not an alliance. It's a regional security organization, but it's not an alliance. Okay. So we have to look in terms of, not simply relying or putting all our eggs in one basket.
You have mentioned the word region a couple of times just recently, President Bongbong Marcos actually said our role here in the Indo-Pacific region is to promote peace. Do we actually have the influence or the power to attain this goal?
Yeah, we have. Number one, we are a middle power. We don't have that military capability. But of course, our country is a middle-sized power. Then, of course, our population, we have Filipinos working all over the world. So these are something that we would have to utilize. We're also an archipelago with a maritime nation. So it's also our responsibility to develop our capabilities to become a maritime power. So we have that advantage. And of course, at this point in time, given our strategic location, we are a sort of a balancer.